Hi everyone, my name is Ochanukrit Tinkalaya. So today I would like to present my critical paper analysis on the topic prosody, an essential aspect of pronunciation for ELF learners. But first, let me introduce you to the background of this theme, of this topic. Back in 2000, Professor Jennifer Jenkins, the professor and pioneer of English as lingua franca or ELF, proposed a small set of pronunciation core features called ELF core features for intelligibility. She tried to promote intelligibility among non-native speakers. In her core features, she's mostly focused on segmental, which is consonants, but not focused much on the suprasegmental or prosody because she reasoned that it's not necessary for non-native speaker to learn and to hear. So she put those word stress and intonation into the non-core features. In addition, there are some concern from teachers around the world that, it was quite hard to teach prosody or suprasegmentals. The lack of the method of teaching prosody in the pronunciation, and also they also claim that it is quite difficult to teach and to learn prosody or suprasegmental. So in this paper, I would like to make a strong case by making an argument that number one, prosody deserves more attention in teaching of ELF pronunciation. And I'm giving you three reasons. The first one is the top-down pronunciation. The second one is phrasing and pauses. And the third one is word stress and intonation. My second argument will be challenge the notion that teaching prosody is difficult and it is hard to learn. So I would suggest three activities that has been proven by the research that they can improve prosody and pronunciation all at the same time. The first one is mirroring, and the second one, shadowing and reader's theater. All right, so my first argument, I want to make a point that teaching suprasegmental or prosody is not just supplemental, it is prominent. In fact, there are two schools of thought of teaching pronunciation. The first one is bottom up and the second one is top down. And most of the teacher will focus pretty much on the bottom up because they want to focus on phonemes, consonants, vowels, and cluster. The typical activity would be minimal pairs and odd one out to raise awareness and perception. But does that really reflect the CLT or communicative language teaching approach? Well, not really. So what we need to do is just to turn the pyramid upside down and focus more on the meaning rather than phoneme. By introducing learners to learn what they want to say, what it means, rather than, the phoneme. But as you talk about, the meaning, the intonation, the prosody, you can also narrow down to phoneme, consonants, and vowel and stress as needed or when it's necessary. Well, because the authentic conversation interchanges, hearers can guess the mispronounced words using the context as a clue. However, they may not necessarily understand what the speaker's intention. So for example, when the Thai cashier say, bring your bag, the foreign customer may be able to overlook all those mispronounced sounds or words and understand this is something about bringing your bag. The k and g may not be a big problem, but it may seem a very serious problem. It could be a serious problem if they still fail to understand what she really means. So he probably is still waiting and wonder why she hasn't given him a bag yet, right? So taking this into the classroom, of course, the teacher will still emphasize on k and g so that the learner can say bag correctly. But at the same time, I will urge the teacher to really focus and pay attention to the suprasegmentals and some discourse level as well. What does it mean? So that they will learn the meaning and try to say it the way they want them to understand or other people to understand, or the discourse level or pragmatic level. So secondly, correct phrasing according to the accurate understanding of thought groups is also necessary for them to be understood. Because teaching the right rhythm and phrasing thought groups make it easier for them to be understood. When you speak continuously without pausing, with no phrasing, with no thought group, what happens? Nobody will understand because it's just like words come from right ear to the left ear. So to speak English intuitively, learners should be taught these very important prosodic features so that they know how to phrase words into correct thought groups and emphasize the words, focus words. A great example is this sentence: Mary said Tom is a woman. By pausing to the right place, the speaker can shift the emphasis on one meaning to the other. Next, we're going to talk about intonation and word stress. Teaching intonation and word stress help learner to understand the emotions, the attitude, and the real intention. Look at this example. The gentleman will say, "Are you okay?" The lady will say, "Fine," and "fine." Those one word give us two different attitudes, two different meaning, two different purpose. So if you teach the students to understand, to use it correctly, you can really send and convey the message and your good intention or correct intention. Also, intonation signals grammatical functions. For example, they can use falling tone for statement, "You're home," or "You're home," meaning that she's trying to ask the question. And next is the word stress. The word stress in English, we do not pronounce every syllable in the words, which is unlike Thai language, because we tend to speak or say every syllable very clearly so everyone understands. But for English, the syllable that received more attention will get a little louder, longer, and higher pitch. But there's some research say that Thai EFL learners still facing pronunciation problems with English word stress. So if their English word is far off the original perception, the communication will not take place. So that's why we still need to teach word stress and should include it as the ELF course features. And that will take me down to the last three activities that have been proven that could help the prosody and pronunciation. The first one is mirroring. The mirroring is the activity that utilizes the top-down approach using prosody, gesture, and body movement in the communicative practice. It is a similar activity like an impersonator act in the theater. Learners will choose role model that they really like and try to imitate his or her voice, pronunciation, prosody, personality, body language, and character. And the result shows a big improvement in prosody and nonverbal language. The second activity is shadowing. Hamada in 2019 wrote a research paper that combined all of the research about shadowing and say that shadowing is also actually improves pronunciation. Uh, the learners are required to repeat what they hear from an audio recording immediately without stopping. So they have to really work hard on both segmental and suprasegmental level. And the result, you will get better pronunciation. And last activity is readers theaters. It is an activity that translates improvement of reading prosody to speaking prosody. The learner will be given out the scripts and then they will divide into roles and they will collaboratively and repeatedly practice reading aloud in groups to fine-tune their reading prosody or reading expression before the reading performance or before the reading showcase. So they not only focus on bottom-up approach when they decoding the text, but they have to really apply the top-down approach to understand what the writers say, what the writer tried to say, and try to convey the message using the speaking prosody. And I say that this powerful activity can bridge reading literacy to oral communication. And that is my presentation on prosody and pronunciation. By now, I hope that you see the importance of prosody in ELF pronunciation teaching. When Professor Jenkins classified prosody features as non-core features, I want to make a strong case for bringing them back to the course of your teaching pronunciation. Teacher, it's time for all of us to teach prosody when teaching pronunciation. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope this presentation is very useful and informative. Thanks.